All right, all right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Keep It Real podcast with your host, Nicholas Salter, my dear friend right here, Luke Armstrong. So here coming at you with another episode. So today, not going to lie, don't have a lot of pre-scripted talking points, but we're kind of free flow and kind of see how it goes. And we'll generate the title after the fact. We'll see. No.
Just yell it, oh no, clickbait gone wrong.
Yeah, but yeah. So hopefully you guys tune into the last episode where we kind of talked about a variety of different subjects from. I know flat earthers was a big one. That was a big one.
Oh my god.
on that one, and my stance remains unchanged on that.
Oh wow!
If anything,
even compared to racism and shit, that is.
If anything, double down. I mean, haven't you learned in the internet age, like, when in doubt, if you feel like you're wrong about something, just double down on it. And eventually people will believe you. It works.
I'm okay that you're wearing this Ku Klux Klan outfit, but the fact that you're holding a flat Earth pamphlet, that's a problem.
that's a real problem. But yeah, so hope everyone's kind of doing well. I know this kind of current climate of politics and also the economy and all this other stuff going on right now. I know things are looking a little bit dicey, to say the least. And I do part of the reason why I actually started this whole show was to kind of help address some of the, I feel like, existential angst that Gen Z is kind of facing right now, and now going to be Gen Alpha, of how to where even though the world is kind of out of control and to a certain degree it is kind of out of our hands, I think we just try to focus on what's within our locus of control of being able to improve and better. Also, the most impact you're going to have in your life, I feel like it's going to be in your immediate circle of your friends, coworkers, family, in your immediate sphere of influence. So just kind of focusing on where you can put your efforts instead of focusing on where you can't. And that'll be the betterment for you and your mental health and for those around you, I feel like. So, yeah. But yeah, that's my little soapbox thing there. But how about you, Mr. Armstrong?
You just talked about, okay, what I think this podcast is for is actually for dumbass shit. No, I don't fucking know, man.
There's a fair share of that as well, yeah. But,
No. Just trying to think. I mean, what would you say is the biggest social problem?
The biggest social problem?
Yes, in our society today.
Man, well, this is a perfect tee up for what I really care about. Well, yeah, that's what I really care about. I said the masculinity crisis that's going on with young men currently. In terms of suicide rates, in terms of mental health, in terms of homelessness, victims of violent crime, it's just young men all together, we're not doing so hot, just by the numbers. Even by, I think, women are going to outpace men graduating, I think, almost double in the next 5-10 years or so. To where we are essentially being left behind. I think we've done a great job of elevating women, which is fantastic. But now we also need to start shifting our focus towards...
You're saying we have done a great job of elevating women. Do you mean like society?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, society's been... Me personally.
It would be a controversial statement to say young men have done a great job of elevating women.
Yeah, no, not that. No, I'd say society as a whole has done a great job of elevating women. But I think now is also time to put some of that focus on young men as well. Because right now I feel like they're just generally just checking out society altogether.
Well, I mean, I would think that... I don't know. I think that the argument would be that men have the instruments of control within those confines, so they should be helping themselves. You know what I mean?
I think older white guys, yes, I think they do have a lot of power and influence, but that's the problem is that most men don't have that. Probably 98% of them don't have that.
I don't disagree.
Only 2%. So that's the problem is that all of the patriarchy is really in the power of the centralized few that are actually making the most out of it, getting the most benefit out of the expense of us and of women as well.
So what do you feel like is the difference between this older generation of men and this younger generation of men?
The main difference I feel like would probably be in emotional resilience, or really, I mean, it's emotions. I think just resilience overall. That and just conviction. I feel like.
Okay.
Did you know what I mean by? So we stopped giving a shit.
Okay. Do you feel maybe that's where the resilience comes from?
Just caring about something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having a purpose beyond. I don't know. Whenever I hear people talk about like this generation so emotionally weak, you know what I mean? It's ironic considering like it matters what you mean by weak too. You know what I mean? I think a lot of old men that they can definitely take like the emotional punch or two, but man, they'll call like they will never change their opinion ever, even when presented before with the evidence of their wrong. Like it's one of those trade-offs that you see in the modern day is like how much are you willing to give up? How much are you willing to give up the idea that you're correct for the other person?
Yeah, they're hesitant to change and to admit fault. It's like while they're strong, they also may lack a certain degree of empathy and compassion.
Yeah.
Which I do agree with that. So luckily, I think it's possible to develop both traits of having emotional resilience, of being able to be strong, of having purpose and living for something, and also holding compassion. I think that's what an integrated man is. It should be like a yin and yang thing. It should have capacity to hold both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's not going to be perfect all the time because we're all human beings. We all have flaws. We're all going to drop the ball from time to time. But we should strive to try and maintain that balance. And I think young men today, we're definitely lacking balance on more of the emotional resilience side of the fence, I feel like. But I do think that you have a point to where if there's not a purpose, where I feel like modern day society, since masculinity has not been redefined at all in the last basically 100 years, and femininity has been redefined probably like 6 times over, that we're trying to use an outdated notion of you bring home a paycheck, that's what makes you a man, when they don't really need that. Women don't really need that from us anymore. Most of them kind of take care of themselves. Well, in this current economy, maybe not. But for a long time.
In this
current economy, we're all fucked.
In this economy!
But a lot of times, women now, for the most part, take care of themselves. They can kind of provide for themselves, so they don't really need a man for that. They might like to have a man for that, but there's not like a necessity for it to where now men without having that kind of meaning or that kind of role, we're like, what the fuck do we do now? Kind of deal.
Well, I think it's also like, I kind of shook my head because I was kind of like, I mean, I feel like a lot of people always want what they lack in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? They want beauty that they can't see in themselves, compassion. A lot of the time, a lot of men look for compassion that they cannot give themselves. Beyond the bare minimums, even of like children and everything. A lot of people emotionally look for their counterpart or for somebody who fills in their holes.
They're
right?
complimentary. Yeah.
Sorry, Phil.
That's goddamn it. But yes, complimentary is probably a better way to put that.
I'm going to hell.
But yeah, with that too.
But I think everybody just wants a fantasy almost, and I think that's the problem. It's like the fantasy for somebody who already feels like they have everything is nothing. It doesn't actually exist. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure people say, well, I guess by their own metric, they wouldn't consider the fantasy they think to be.
And everybody always dates up. So it matters. So if we create a society where men are supposed to chase the woman, but the women are more successful, more ahead, then you're going to have a society full of a lot of degeneracy and I think that's the thing is like emotion can rot. I wish people would say like rot as an emotion more, like a person's rotting, because it explains so much of how I feel people act, in the sense of like I feel so many people are like rotten right now, in the sense of like they've rotted enough on the inside. Like
what does that mean, rot? Like that? Like how's it the behavior?
Like incels, in a way. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's like resentment.
There's no. Well, any emotion can rot properly. You know what I mean? But like anger and sadness rot the worst.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess it comes from some kind of pain.
And it's a different type of acting when anger and rotting anger.
Yeah, no, that's the difference between like initial anger versus resentment, or contentment that you hold against something or someone for extended period of time because the pain has been unresolved.
Yeah.
For so long, it just boils over. Which happens to a lot of young men nowadays too. Which I actually think that's part of the reason why so many young men swung over to the conservative side of things. Basically, is that there's this.
I mean, have a lot of young men swung over to the conservative side of things?
Yeah, that's a big chunk of these past votes for Donald Trump have been from for young men. There's been an uptick in conservative votes from them compared to the last 20 years in more recent times.
I was unaware of that. I will say that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just my friend groups. Maybe, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's it's one of those things where it's like it's not really talked about, right? That's also another thing too. Like no one's really discussing. I shouldn't say no one. I think it's getting more prominence now, but it's only because I think it's gotten so bad to where we no longer can sweep it under the rug and try to cover it up, kind of deal. And now we're tripping over it. It's like we're starting to see the difference between enrollments. We're starting to see the difference in between Gen Z working sustainably, the loneliness crisis, the depression, the suicidality, the birth rate decreasing. Like now the signs are starting to become just self-evident. It's like, okay, men are starting to check out. And I think eventually society is going to start feeling the ramifications even more so as the population starts aging and there's not enough people to replace said population or to do the harder jobs, to make the hard sacrifices, because men are like they don't really know what to sacrifice for. They're like, what's the point? Like, why grow up, get a job I hate, to get a mortgage I'll never pay off, to never end up with anybody. Anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. To never end up with anybody is my biggest thing.
Yeah,
you know what I
it's
mean?
like they're like, what's the point
What's
of
the
trying
point?
to
Yeah.
sacrifice and be a man if I'm not getting anything out of the deal, right? Which I can understand, even as a young man myself. But at the same time, if we stick with that mentality, then we've already lost. Like it's a self-defeating, self-fulfilling prophecy at that point. If we give up, the world gets worse, and then it gets harder for us to achieve anything in it.
Yeah.
So I think even though we are in a crisis to where it's like we basically have to work twice as hard to get half as much as our people before us did, which is bullshit. I think that's basically the only way forward. Otherwise, the world is just going to continue to spiral out of control.
I think it's also just wealth disparity too that's causing problems.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is also that the moment this freaking economy, this economy is only meant for efficiency. It's not meant for. It's not meant for society. It's meant for efficiency. And
Well, I mean, it's meant for the top 5%. Like I think this guy named Scott Galloway, a great podcaster by the way, also wrote like a book kind of talk about this stuff. And
shout out Scott! If you could shout out us, we got 5 views on our last podcast. If you could shout out us. And
But he talked about how basically there's been a slow transfer of wealth from the young people to the old, to where we've basically been buffering the assets of the rich. Like all of the tax advantages, Social Security have been going towards the people that already have assets, and it's been taken basically away from us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been all the policies, because most of the electorate, most of the people that actually vote are the ones that are a little bit older, right, or ones that have a little more wealth, a little bit more established. So because those are the constituents that the politicians are receiving the money from, they vote towards the policies that they like. Right, those are the people that they're getting paid by. Mm-hmm. So they keep enforcing and making new policies.
I was a librarian, and now my pension is $250,000 a year.
Yeah, so
let me vote.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So most of the economic policies put in place now are already for the ones that are doing super well off, and so the young people are the ones paying the bill. And now we're getting assets. Now we can't even afford these assets that we're buffing up.
And the worst part is that by the time this whole economy upends itself, all those people will be dead. All the people who have the assets now, they'll be dead. It's going to be interesting to see where the money goes, to see if the government's going to take it or see if it's going to funnel into just family after family after family.
It'll probably be a generational thing. And also, most of these rich people, they don't have the money themselves. They usually break it up into their own like different companies or charities, or like most rich people don't hold the money underneath their name, especially if they get sued or get caught in some kind of case. They have ways to move the money around to protect themselves and their assets in case they get in trouble. That's why most billionaires, they may not really have a cent to their name, but it's all like through their
like stock options type that. Bullshit that Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk do. Technically, they don't have any money, but they own 70% of Tesla or some shit like that.
They move it around to make sure it's not all in one place. So
sorry about that.
So I doubt that money that super rich has is going to go down. It's not going to be like a trickle down economic situation. I don't think we're going to see that, if I'm being honest. I mean, and that's really the scary thing too. At least from what I've read and from the podcast, different things I've gathered from, they're like, yeah, there's not much we can do of getting off this train until basically it kind of crashes.
You know, that's the funny thing because like that's one of the reasons I'm kind of looking at stocks right now. I've kind of gotten into it a bit, and I'm investing a lot in Nvidia, and it's like one of those things where people talk about AI, right? And apparently AI is not plummeting, but like went down this week because they made a survey and companies had said AI is like not turning out the way they thought it would. Basically they said it didn't. They haven't seen any uptick or anything in efficiency or anything with AI. But honest to God, dude, I'm investing still because I don't think AI will be an option down the line. I think it'll be a necessity.
Yeah.
Because as the population dwindles, what the hell do you think they're gonna? You think companies are just gonna lay back and be like, oh, we're just gonna downsize? No, they're gonna. Well, they are gonna downsize human wise.
Yeah.
But they're gonna still want efficiency. Is what killed us. Is the fact that Bob made 130% sales increase, and now I want to make 170. Now I'm making like 180.
Yeah.
And the guy who dips down even 50% has a bad year, you only get 50% of 180 last year. That guy gets fired. So then the next guy who comes in, he's going to push for 190, 200.
Yeah, the fact that they keep trying to beat profits for the next fiscal year, there always has to be an increase, makes it to where something's got to give eventually in the system.
Yeah, and I think it's us. I think it's...
Yeah, nothing goes up indefinitely. It has to stop growing or even collapse at some point.
Yeah.
Which is scary to talk about. I don't think anyone likes to think about the
No, it's a
end
happy
of
thought. It's a very happy thought.
March side. Yeah, again, another point reason why it's like, we gotta, this is not the time to check out, because I feel like the people that do are to be the ones that are going to get hit the worst, because they're not going to see it coming.
What do you mean?
I think this is probably the time where, young men, we need to try to focus on maximizing our potentiality, with our skill set in AI, our skill set in terms of talking to people.
Well, we don't want to necessarily play into a system that's going to kill us anyways.
Well, I just think not doing anything just makes us sitting ducks.
Well, I think voting is voting with money.
So we got to get money.
So we got to get money and vote with it, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. Voting, I feel like only makes a difference as much as people will let it. I feel like voting with money is what makes people speak more. If we all just stopped buying from certain products, you know what I mean? Actually, I forgot to talk to you about this, so this is actually a perfect fucking topic. My parents are wanting me to get a new iPhone, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have an iPhone 12 mini. I've liked it. But they want me to get a new one, and I don't disagree. But I'm debating whether I want to get an iPhone 12 mini, or not an iPhone 12 mini, whether I want to get a new iPhone or a Google Pixel. And here's the thing. Both of them work in sweatshops. I'm not negating. Okay, I know that's depressing. I could look at other options, but right now that's what I'm trying to settle on is like between Google Pixel. I want the high security.
Yeah.
Both of them are good options, but I hated how Apple just keeps nerfing their phones. I'm probably 8 updates behind Apple because of how much they nerf the shit out of their phones. They have this battery thing now where they'll be like, oh, you have this much battery. Like, have you seen it? The battery drainer thing?
Mm-mm.
It'll tell you how much battery you have left. I'm at 78%. Dude, I swear I'm going to do 3 updates and it's going to be like, you're at 1. Good luck.
Yeah, they just slowly kind of make your phone outdated so you're forced to buy the newest product.
And Google Pixel doesn't do that.
Well, yeah.
But
they maintain that.
But if we stopped... Like, my sister got me a... Amazon tablet. I don't even use it. I feel so bad. But I was looking it up and I was like, these things seem like they would give out, right? Sure enough, they say after 6 months, Amazon, they just give out for some reason.
That's a very short time. 6 months?
I think it was said 6 months when I looked it up.
It sucks. At that point, just read on your phone.
But that's the thing is that but if we stopped buying from Apple, if we said fuck you, we're not going to do this.
They'd be forced to change.
They'd be forced to change.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's do we keep buying into systems and everything? I think one of the worst things that ever happened to people is TikTok. I hate TikTok with a dying
I don't think that was. I mean, hate to get all conspiratorial here. I don't think that was.
It wasn't
unplanned.
It wasn't the. How do I put it? It wasn't the. It's just the pinnacle of the hatred. You know what I mean? It's just the tippy top.
What do you mean?
I just feel like Facebook, Instagram, all those things are fucking terrible.
Yeah,
I don't know why it took me so long to get that fucking out.
Because of emphasis. But I think also because the algorithm in itself may not necessarily be evil, but the problem is people are emotional, and outrage culture is now what's driving people. It used to be kind of like sex and stuff like that. Now I think outrage even beats that. I think
outrage beating sex.
It's like people they want something to stand in opposition towards. Like they want to feel a sense of self-righteousness to advocate for something or advocate against something. It's like because it makes them feel like a part of something or like they're important. I don't know how we thought about the reasons too much behind it.
I think the reason I hate it is because none of it matters. None of it. From the very start of Facebook, none of it matters. Oh, I want to stay connected with my family. Then call them. Then keep track of them. Oh, what about my friends? Then call them and keep track of them. But I want to know if Stacey can do it. Are you willing to talk to Stacey? Well, no.
So you see social media as 100% negative. Like there's no redeeming.
Okay. The benefits I see from it, you could get to like it's like Discord versus like Facebook. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The benefits I get okay, so number one, the deficits way outweigh the benefits in my opinion. Obviously, you can see my opinion. But even to take it a step further, the benefits are all social benefits in the sense of like people feel connected with other people. So there's two avenues to go beyond this. Number one, the first avenue is connected without actual connection. Do you actually? Is it better to fall in love with something that doesn't give a shit about you, or to not fall in love with it at all? You know what I mean? To think a connection is there when it's not. And
yeah, so like parasocial relationships.
Parasocial relationships. I think parasocial relationships are negative. I don't think they're good. So that is my justification.
I will
for that
say
side.
is that I think it is negative, but there also could be a community aspect in there.
Okay, but that's the thing. It's number two, genuine dynamics. Things that we had a similar interest. We love Billie Eilish, like that idea. Neither of us like Billie Eilish, by the way. I don't know why I use Billie Eilish in my head. But like I was thinking celebrities that are famous and people can connect. Yeah. You can get that same benefit though, in my opinion, from like Discord. You know what I mean? Going into servers that have Billie Eilish as a fan, you know what I mean? And instead of that idea of posting to the world and people that collect and everything, it's just dedicated servers
and dedicated communities for stuff you actually like.
Exactly, and I feel like that's so much better. Like if we could create somebody if we actually ever get famous, somebody's probably going to come to this and be like, "There's already something for that." But like, I don't know. I really, 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 really dislike the. Like I feel like that's actually a really great way of saying it. It's all parasocial. Yeah. Because parasocial usually refers to like celebrities and everything. But all of it is parasocial. All of it. Even like me looking at somebody else that I knew. That's parasocial in a way. You know what I mean?
Unless you actually talk to them on a regular basis, you're just looking through their curated lens of their life, right? And they're probably even milking the story to a certain degree. It's probably not at all
modifying it, yeah. And it just burns so much time. And I feel like that's what really kills a lot of young men, ironically.
Because they compare themselves to the lives of their peers.
Not just that. Comparison, electronic addiction, how much people play into it, how much screen time. I think screen time has proven to be linked to like a lot of psychological problems. You know what I mean? And like, I just think it's just so degrading for
because we're not evolved for it, right? It's almost like technology almost kind of outpaced our own evolutionary capability so far. So we have technology that we're almost kind of not really ready for in a certain degree, but we can't turn back time. It's already out, so cat's out of the bag. But it's like
technology that we're not ready for. I don't know if that's the avenue I'd go down, but continue. I apologize.
Because I think it has a hold over us. There's a reason why we get addicted. There's a reason why we're trying to have human relationships over a digital capacity, and we just don't know how to do that effectively yet to where we get the same result. So we're trying.
I don't think we can.
Maybe we can. Maybe
I don't think we can with it. Damn. I don't think. I think as you can try.
Or maybe eventually we could, but it might take fucking hundreds of years. I don't know how long that would take. and how much we'll lose on the way to even get there. I mean, I know there's people talking about how we might get integrated with technology at some point down the line, and we might lose what it means to be human. That whole philosophical.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I don't want to lose that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone does, but technology's gonna keep moving forward.
You know what's crazy? We got so efficient at so many things, and we just decided to speed everything up.
Yep.
Like, the amount of efficiency we have compared to, like, 100 years ago is night and fucking day.
Yeah.
Like, it took people years to build things that take us, like, what, fucking
Months.
1 year, months, yeah. And instead of, like, making our lives easier, we just decided to outpace ourselves even more. Again, I just think efficiency.
I think it's kind of gave us more angst because now it's like humans like, well, now what do we do if technology does everything for us? Kind of deal, right? It's
we help each other.
What does that mean? What was that like?
I don't know. That's just my hope, is that we'd help each other.
Yeah, that's hopeful. I think that'd be the
First, we get rid of the people who resist.
that would be ideal. Yeah, but I think that's the thing, man. We have problems coming up on the horizon that I'm not sure if we're ready for. If I'm being transparent, but
I like to think that in a society where we become super efficient to the point where people don't need jobs, maybe, or let's even argue like 3 hours a day, right? Mm-hmm. We start to volunteer more as a community and start to try and connect more. Again, the reason I hate electronics and Facebook and everything, we've reduced ourselves to nothing. And it's so frustrating to see that. It's
like it's in reduce ourselves now, as in like
people take away their individual power or individual responsibility due to the idea that there's always a more extreme person on either end. You know what I mean? The amount of negative impact I'm making is nothing compared to Alex Jones. The amount of positive impact I'm making is nothing compared to, Billie Eilish. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like
I don't know why I keep bringing up fucking Billie
Eilish. Psychological thing.
I think she's like one of those like non-controversial, usually seen as a very kind person, established artist.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
More Taylor Swift.
Kind of generic. But Taylor Swift, I don't know, maybe Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I feel like she'd be more like the pastel kind of.
I don't know, her Swifties are pretty terrifying.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, not for your Swiftie fans out there. Sorry, you guys are fucking scary. But
oh look who's at the window! All these red dots coming on your chest.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's almost like if you don't have a lot of influence now, it's like you almost don't matter.
And that's the thing, is that's not true.
Yeah, it's not.
There's
it feels like.
But yeah, but that's the thing, is that if you get off electronics, like I love volunteering at the shelter. Even I had a sucky weekend because I brought one dog to an event, never got adopted, and it was an 8-hour event in Fort Worth. I had to drive an hour to Fort Worth and an hour back. I'm still gonna go back because like. I don't know who's ever going to hear this, even this, 5 views and everything. I really hope people hear this. I really, really support your podcast. I'm sorry, Nick. I'm sorry. But if you really feel like you need meaning, just go to a shelter and take a dog out and then just look at their eyes. And, dude, you will see in a moment, you are their entire world. We actually have a problem at this point at the shelter because we are supposed to wear like these really high like neon. It's all neon. So that's our ID. Is that when we come to the shelter, that's how they know we're a volunteer. Yeah, so we can walk around everything freely, and somebody can look at me from across the building and be like, "That's a volunteer. Okay, they can be there." You know what I mean? And we've actually caught people sometimes wearing like regular shirts, and they've almost always been a very long-term volunteer that's so well known that you're like, okay, it's not you. You know what I mean? Or it's I've never heard of this, but if it was somebody who wasn't supposed to be out there, they're like, "So what you doing here, bud?" You know. Yeah. We actually have a problem now when we do meet and greets and take them to meet families. They'll stand by us. They like us more. They trust us more because we got them out of the kennel, and I think they also recognize the shirts.
Yeah.
And I don't know. My first dog I ever fell in love with, her name was Nellie. I love Nellie. Nellie went to the Love Pit. It's a pit bull rescue in Dallas. I'm 100% supportive of them. If you ever want another place to look at, that's a great place. But when she was at the shelter I volunteered at, before the Love Pit got a hold of her, I tried to do borrow buddy, which means you go out with the dog for the day. I took her out almost every time. She was still loving. And I remember one day I was volunteering, and I was at the front of the shelter, right? And you think that a dog loves you, but you kind of just leave it at that. You know what I mean? You go like, oh, this dog loves me, and you leave it at that, right? And I'm literally just chilling out in front of the shelter. I forgot what I was doing. And I look to my left, and a new volunteer is like stumbling along with this dog. This dog. And I look at the dog, and it was Nellie. And she had seen me and gotten so excited, she went pit bull mode and dragged the volunteer across the yard to me so she could give me like doggy kisses and be happy to see me and everything. And it's in those things that you need to like really take your solace. Because again, like even within things that you can. You even within things that are outside of electronics, there's ups and downs. Like again, that event killed me. I had to pay for parking. I had to pay for like $30 in mediocre food that day. It was really soul sucking. I still don't know I'm gonna go back. You know what I mean? Because it's just
fulfillment there.
It's fulfillment there, and I just get so sick and tired of so many people being like, well, I'm not gonna be, I can't do much, and it's like, yes, you can. You can. I mean, I'm looking into the Big Brothers Big Sisters initiative.
And I think that's important that you kind of touch on, because I feel like, and I actually said this in one of my other episodes before, is that I believe everyone has a certain skill or trait. Like there's something unique to you that you can give to the world that the world needs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's hard, but if you can identify what that is, that's where your fulfillment in life is going to come from. Like it's you meeting that purpose for which you were built for. And I think it's hard to find. I think it's something that some people may not find until like late ages, like 50s, 60s. Like, it might take a while for some people, but I think that is where your fulfillment in life comes from, is finding what you're meant for in this world, what you're built for, and giving that to the best of your ability. And I think for you as a person, I think your capacity for love and compassion that you give, that these animals feel, like that is a meaningful connection that you have between them, mm-hmm. that not a lot of other people have, and they probably pick up on that, which is why the dogs adore being around you. So that might be like a hint to what your deeper kind of gift is.
Maybe.
And I think it's something that's kind of, it comes in layers. Like I don't think you ever get the full answer all like at one time, but I think it's like a slow discovery, unraveling over time, that you kind of figure out what it is. And it's a journey, and it's a pain in the ass for sure. But I think that's what young men, so we have to be able to embark on the journey. Like, the monomyth? You heard of that? Like the hero's journey?
No.
Really? I don't know.
The monomyth?
Monomyth, yeah. Joseph Campbell, like the hero with 1,000 faces. He talks about how most stories follow a similar story structure from, the hero in their ordinary world. Then they get introduced to someone that brings them to a world that they don't know about. They face challenges, they meet a mentor, romantic interest involved, then they face their greatest fear, the greatest thing holding them back, and then they bring that new knowledge back to the old world and kind of change everything, right? And then the cycle just kind of keeps going. It's actually really interesting. I did like a college paper, something like that on it, because I feel like, and that's why I like superheroes so much, because mm-hmm. basically every superhero story follows the monomyth to a certain degree, mm-hmm. where there's change. To like you're a certain way, then you grow, you might die in certain ways, and you kind of come back stronger, or you come back different.
Yeah.
And then that enables you to take on the next challenge that presents itself ahead of you. Like I think that's exactly what life is. Mm-hmm. Essentially, it's a series of constant change going around the cycle until you pass away. And I think men, they just stopped. They don't want to go on the journey. They're just like, what's the point of me going through all this shit just not to get anything out of it? So I'm just gonna stay home. Like I'm not even gonna step out into a world that
I don't know how much of a problem this is. I'm not gonna lie. I was unaware that there was I knew there was a loneliness epidemic, but I thought it was with men.
Who do you think mostly it is?
What?
Most of it's men.
Yeah, that makes sense actually when I think about it.
Yeah, that again. It goes against the current, I think, cultural narratives, because I think what a lot of women and also feminists are afraid of is that if we start focusing on this, then we're going to start abandoning women's issues and start rewinding the clock back like 50 years and start trying to subjugate them like we did back in the past. So they don't want to give credence to this stuff. But the problem is, if we don't give credence to this stuff, then people like Andrew Tate start showing up to where they see the vacuum that men are.
If you don't give it to the little extreme, then it's the big extreme that'll bring it in.
And I don't think it's even extreme. I think most men are good. I think they want to treat people well. I think they want to have a purpose. They want to serve their community. I think they want to live a meaningful life. They just don't know how to do it. They don't have mentors. They don't have people in their lives encouraging them, saying, "Hey, you're capable of doing more than you think." Like, most guys don't have that. Like, a lot of people don't even have two parents. Like they have no one really looking out for them. And my heart, I mean, I'm not a very emotional person, but this stuff gets to me, thinking how much people out there suffering just because there's no one telling them that they can accomplish more than they think. They can handle a lot more than they think. Even me going through the Corps, I learned that about myself too, is that we don't know how much we can really handle until we kind of put ourselves to the test. And I think that is a man's challenge, is to put yourself to the test to a certain degree. And it's hard. And you need encouragement. You can't do it on your own. But if you don't do it, you're robbing yourself of something, of life's fulfillment, as well as what you can give to the world too. Because I think you have to be forged. And once you're forged, you'll start seeing the benefits you can put out there to other people. But you gotta go through the forging process first. You can't skip that. And it's a bitch. But I think it's necessary. And so that's my soapbox. It's just like this is the stuff.
And we're at an hour and 30 minutes, folks.
But yeah, I think that's what I'm having a hard time with, of like trying to figure out how we can kind of get guys to kind of pick up the swords again and kind of get back into the world and encounter it and face it. That's why I like Jordan Peterson too, because he talks about that stuff. He talks about it a lot back 5-6 years ago when we first started getting big, first started getting started, of how if you're struggling in life, find a weight that you can bear. Like, it may not be much. Maybe it might just be volunteering. Maybe it might be just taking care of your mom, or whatever that case may be. But find something in this world that you're capable of, that you can be responsible for, that you can manage, and just start there. And then that'll snowball. That confidence will give you the capacity to start handling other things in your life. And then it'll just snowball from there. And that's how you become a capable person. It's like little by little, step by step kind of deal. And I just think we just need to try to start encouraging people to take that first step. And, finding communities of like-minded people that are trying to achieve the same thing that you're trying to achieve, and learn how to help each other out too. Because I also realize that that's important. I feel like, especially for me, I have a habit of trying to do things alone, because I think it's a pride thing. But I think even as young men, we need to get over that and start learning how to lean on one another and ask for help when we need it, because this world is going to beat you down at some point.
The definition of our friends have when I'm like, come give me a hug. You're like, no. I'm like, give me a hug. You're like, no. You're like, give me a hug, Dick.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's for it too. I mean, that's another thing, is that I think the reason why the old definition of masculinity might have failed is because it was missing an emotional connection there.
I think it relied on power.
Yeah.
And I think that's what men are having a complicated time with, because power, especially with the feminist movement and everything, you know what I mean? And I don't agree with all of it, but I agree with letting women have power over their lives, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of power is power, you know what I mean? And if you feel like that power is getting taken away from you, it's no longer like all the powers in the young men who are growing up in the world, right? It's like you said, the older generation has like 60% of the power. Both, the older men have like, I don't want to say 60, but like at least 50, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now women are coming in and taking 25, which is justified, you know what I mean? But I think, again, we were raised on this efficiency mindset that we have to be better than our fathers were, that we have to be better men, better people, and everything.
There's that pressure there, yeah. That kind of like this mandatory kind of lifestyle inflation there that we can't keep up with. And now we've almost feel like that we failed at that. we don't even show up to the race.
Yeah.
We don't even show up to the starting line. We're just like, what's the point? I'm not gonna be better than my parents, my father was, or what society wants me. I can't be what they need me to be, so I'm just gonna give up. I'm just gonna stay home, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Especially if you want a family and everything, man.
Yeah, and just for me personally, I refuse. I'm not giving up. I'm not just like I refuse to just think that there's nothing that we can do about it.
You're young. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You can give up when you're 50.
Nah. But I think that's the thing, man. I do think that older generation has failed us in learning how important the emotional side of defense is. I think that's why suicide rates between men, I think between ages like 25 and 35, is so high.
I mean, what percentage are they at?
To the degree to where most of our deaths come from ourselves. Like, it's not car accidents, it's not violent crime, no, it's not terminal illness or sickness. It's, I guess you should say mental illness.
Give me a second, I want to look it up. I'm chat GPTing this.
Yeah, go for it. But yeah, but it's suicide. That's what's taking out most young men nowadays, which is tragedy here. But yet nobody talks about that often, which is also another depressing thing. Like,
what is the highest rate of death among men 25 to 35?
Mm-hmm.
Searching the web.
Drum roll.
Leading cause of death: unintentional injuries. Oh wait, oh wow, holy shit. Which includes accidents such as car crashes, falls, and drinking. Oh, okay, so if you include all of the accidents together, it's 39.2% of deaths.
Okay.
Suicide is approximately 16. So if you like cut up the ones,
yeah.
Then oh my god, homicide is 10% of the deaths.
Yeah, and those probably men are men too, if I had to guess. Yeah, it's not looking great by the numbers. And again, this stuff doesn't get talked about because no one wants to think about, well, men are the ones in power, so they can't be the one who's suffering. No, I think it's both.
Well, that's the other thing. Is like, I think when they say that, they don't. I didn't even take this into account, and I appreciate this conversation because like I didn't even take into account age.
Yeah.
Because I think like I think a lot of young men are a lot more emotional an emotional capability, but I think like a lot of I don't know. And a lot of them aren't, though. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that really sucks, is that I'm seeing everything from the point of view of my own world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was talking with somebody about this, is that she even told me, she was like, I don't even, the person I'm currently in relations with at this time, yeah. She told me straight up, she's like, I don't trust your kindness still. She said, I have met so many men who will be rude to me, degrade me, take advantage of me, that I still don't trust your kindness that you're giving me to me now, because I'm afraid it's all just a ruse.
And that's the thing. It's almost like men were almost kind of forgotten about, and then they became assholes because of that.
They became
now women are like, hey, look at these assholes. Hey, these are the guys you want to save. And it turns to this stuff with them. Or
they were already bad because they were chopped by that older generation of men of like, those men that have all the wealth, by the way, too. Yeah. And everything. And had women who were just, like, had no power. I think women couldn't own a credit card till, like, it was that women couldn't have their own bank account.
Yeah.
Until, like, 1970s? 1980s?
I didn't know that, yeah.
It was pretty recent here. Let me freaking get out my phone again so rudely during a podcast and look this up.
This is real life fact check.
When could women get bank accounts? Oh. Yeah. It might be wrong. That might be a myth.
Oh. But to your larger point is that like women's kind of been subjugated and mistreated for so long, and that's why feminism came about in the first place. And now men are trying to seek more purpose, so they don't feel like they don't have it. So then they start getting bitter, they start getting resentful, they start blaming the changes that society has been making. I think in a positive direction for the most part, but obviously there's things that we need to work on in terms of men. But because of these changes, men feel they've been adversely affected, changes their attitude, changes their behavior to where it starts being more resentful and bitter and just ugly towards women overall, which is, I think, part of the reason why this even, I think it's part of the birth rate crisis. I think what's happening is that young men and young women we're just not getting along.
Well, the other thing is just like in this economy, that's all I want to say every time.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, just like
why are you guys having kids? Is this economy? I'm thinking I want 2 to 4 kids, and I am stressing the fuck out about it. That's a lot.
But I'm gonna be honest, even if it wasn't financial, I think we still be having birth rate crisis. I don't think it's just economical. I think it's just almost like the fact of like men and women at this point. I don't think we just trust each other very much anymore.
I think that's true. I think I have a hard time though understanding why people run for the fences of conservatism. Well, I guess I also have a hard time understanding why people run for the fences of liberalism too. I guess that's the other thing. So I guess I'm looking at both sides. I'm like, why can't we all
talking about the extremes of?
Yeah, that I feel like we're going to, because I feel like men are becoming more conservative leaning and being more liberal, and so yeah. I think.
Well, I think it comes down, like, not getting back to psychology and Jordan Peterson aspect, but he talks about how women usually have a trait of agreeableness and compassion more than men do typically. So that'll lend them more to being towards more the liberal side of things. That's about collectively taking care of people than the conservative side of things. And I think young men are turned more conservatism because they think if they can go back to a sense of traditionalism, that'll give them their purpose back. That'll give them like the women that they were supposed to have back. Right? They think they can kind of, in a sense, kind of turn back the clock.
Oh, I can't believe that though, because I've known the men that are like working at like RVs, living with their parents and everything. You know what I mean? And those aren't people who really think in an overtly degenerate fashion. I don't know. I find it just so hard to believe the idea that like, well, women, I need a woman that's traditional. Like, I think it is kind of a, I think I have to think, I guess, more so, and I'm not saying I'm correct in this, but I have to think it's not like, it's beyond that. It's more of like a fuck you thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost a cultural retaliation.
Yeah, it's a retaliation for the feelings of like what people are
feeling rejected.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like young men saying like, well, if we're being forgotten about, then we're going to forget what you care about, which is right. Which is like,
yeah. But I was talking about an asshole person, so I doubt they'll ever run to this podcast. But that person's a really nice person, and they have they have their quirks and everything with whatever you want to say. But again, they're not extreme in their views in regards to like they're not running for the hills of conservatism or liberalism. It depends on a person-to-person basis, so I'm wondering what truly... Well, this person is also very good at being calm and being like, okay, this is my life, I'm going to handle it this way. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know.
I think most people probably lie somewhere in the middle. I think most people usually not too extreme when it comes to either side.
Yeah.
But there is a growing number of people that are starting to become more and more polarized. And I think that is concerning because it's showing like a rift between the sexes, this kind of untrust kind of starting to develop. Mm-hmm. And if we're not careful, we're going to generate a generation of assholes, basically. And then those assholes getting power is going to start, honestly, I think it already kind of has, like with like Roe v. Wade and stuff like that. It's like, I think we're kind of starting to see the first wave of what happens when that bitterness starts taking hold of power and starts getting in control.
Well, Roe v. Wade is also a religious issue, too.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are starting to turn back to a religion thing.
Separation of church and state, people.
Which I agree, yeah. But I think a lot of people are starting to turn back to religion because, again, they're trying to wind back the clock to the good old days, right, where they think that society was fine. And
that makes me really sad to think that people have, just because they're like, I get zero pussy, so I'm going to make it. Yeah, so fuck everybody, burn it all.
That's what incel is. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense though, because if you don't stand for anything, you'll only stand for yourself. Mm-hmm. And whenever you make yourself God, I mean that's ooh. I mean, I don't know how many people are going to watch this episode, but fuck it. I feel like a lot of women do that. A lot of women make themselves God. You know what I mean? Because they don't.
I got in what sense?
And by the way, I don't want to say a lot in the sense of most or anything. I'm just saying I notice a lot of... I've run into these women pretty commonly. I just want to say that it's not most women. I'm saying I run into this type of woman commonly, where they make themselves the purpose. They make themselves the purpose. So when you make yourself the purpose, then any affront to you is doubled. Any motivation you have is going to be clearly for you and motivated only for you.
Yeah, it's almost like you have a free license to, because you are of the utmost importance. Then anything is you can.
It's kind of a way of narcissism.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say narcissism directly because I don't want to be that that armchair psychologist.
Yeah. Or you say like solipsism, basically, a sense of like kind of just selfishness or just pure self-centered.
Yeah, and these people, they still have compassion and everything, but it's really like you can still be compassionate and still be narcissistic.
Yeah,
you know what I
compassion
mean?
comes from a level of self-righteousness where it's like they care more about looking like they're a good person than probably.
Well, even if they have compassion, man, some of them just. Some of them have it. The people I'm thinking of, Ashley, and I want to make this clear, they have it in very minimal quantities. So it's not like they don't. But I just want to make it clear they're not. Like with men, I think it's a lot more obvious because they'll just do fucking like crazy shit. You know what I mean? They'll be like, "Oh, dump the oil into the lake. I don't give a fuck." You know what I mean?
Yeah, they won't care about the destruction.
And when you're talking to them, it's much more clear because they just won't. They just don't care at all.
No filters, no.
Yeah, but with I don't know if it's like the compassion we envision on women or if they are just more, you know, a lot of people argue that women are just naturally more compassionate, you know what I mean? But even with that compassion, which they don't have a lot of, by the way, again, I want to emphasize that. If you have a lot of compassion, very unlikely that you're going to have that. But even with their, the little compassion they can have or the way they manifest it, they're still incredibly self-centered in the way they view the world and try to operate within it. You know what I mean?
Or like they can only see it from their own perspective.
Yeah.
From what they see.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be able to go through other perspectives from what others see. Like they're kind of one-track minded to what their version of good or compassion looks like.
That's a good way of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I can definitely see that happening because I think no one wants to be on the wrong side of history. You know, I think everyone wants to see themselves as like we're the ones fighting for the right. Like they want to see themselves as like they're the ones that kind of freed the slaves, right? That kind of deal. Like I know that's a extreme example, but to the point, like the reason why I try to make that distinction is because back in the day, this is especially in the South, they thought there's nothing wrong with doing it, right? They thought they're the ones in the right. That when they looked at history, they're like, oh, we're just fighting for our workforce, right? No one wants to look back saying like, oh man, we were the bad guys. So
are you talking about like among white people and everything?
I think people in general, not necessarily just white people. But
I love it when people talk about it when they're like, if I was back then.
Yeah, and
I would have
more likely, yeah, you probably
I would have been one of the good ones.
Yeah, it's like that's not how it works. So it's like I think people they're really afraid.
I like to think I would be, but I don't know. You know,
you don't know. You weren't raised in that circumstance, in that context.
Well, also, I'm just thinking, just like you die. You know what I mean? You know, Jeff tried to help them, and then he gets shot in the fucking face.
Yeah, it's like
you're going to be like,
it's one thing to talk about being a good person, but to be a good person in context to where, in that time period, you were the villain.
And I think that's the other thing, is that, like, I think I would be compassionate the way I am now. You know what I mean? If I just, like, literally, Luke just got shifted to this view, I would definitely try a lot of things. You know what I mean? But I think it's also, like, how were you raised in that time period? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People don't. Like, maybe that's what they're trying to say. Maybe they're like, man, if I... But I think the way they talk about it was like, if I was at that... But they don't think about, like, the upcoming and everything.
The core values are way different compared to what you were raised with now.
Well, not to mention, I think a lot of people would just get themselves killed. Because they would try to, like... Anne Frank loud advocate, you know what I mean? They would try to be...
They would be one of the statistics for the people that got one of the victims.
Yeah, one of the people that got there. But I think if I was shifted, let me make it clear, I think if I was shifted, I would help out 100%.
Yeah,
but
with your core value system you have now.
But I just...
But you weren't raised in that context, so I mean, it's a philosophical time travel conversation, but point essentially, no one wants to be on the wrong side of history. So to make up, to compensate for that, they're like, we have to be right. Like, we have to do the right thing. We have to be super compassionate because I'll be damned if I'll be the Nazi of this time kind of deal. But then by doing so, it's like you don't know what kind of ideology you're pushing forward that actually could also be harmful in its own way, like the whole medicine's worse than disease kind of deal. Like you can also go too far in the other direction where you have toxic compassion, where you might be allowing shit that you shouldn't.
You're looking at me extra hard now.
Like,
You talking shit, Nick?
no, I mean, but I think that's the problem. Like men, our vice is that we can be too domineering, too exclusionary, too dickish, lacking compassion. I think women's downsides, I think it might be too compassionate, like kind of going back with the Bible and the snake kind of thing, to where it's like, you know, you can easily be convinced by a manipulator that can do more harm.
So do you think both of them are going the toxic direction of this?
Yes.
Men are becoming overtly toxically compassionate and hampering themselves.
Yeah.
But it's rotting their emotions, which means that they're becoming very spiteful and angry. And then women are becoming, you know, rightfully so, successful and everything, but they're trying to swing so hard to clock it to the gear that they're kind of becoming the men they hated. You know what I mean?
The main villains that they're trying to get.
Yeah.
That's my concern.
Ooh, I like. You know, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, it's not beautiful. But yeah, that's my concern, is that by us being this polarizing, we are like almost creating our own enemies, so to speak. We're generating the Andrew Tates, basically, by going this direction and lacking compassion for young men.
Yeah.
That's why conservatives are sweeping them up, because even in this past election, they're like, I don't think they really care about young men that much, but they know how to pretend that, like, oh yeah, we see the issue that you guys are going through. That's why you should come to our side and we'll try to help fix things, right? They don't give a fuck.
Are you talking about conservatives or liberals?
Conservatives. Liberals didn't do shit in this last election trying to get young men over to their side.
Yeah, that's because they were too busy trying to keep... They're like, hey, Biden. The monitor is up. Biden, stop looking down there.
Yeah, there's the element of not having trust in their nominees.
Yeah. I felt like they were having a problem just marketing things, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then the conservatives, they saw the young men, they went to the Joe Rogan podcast, right? Donald Trump was on there. Guess who the majority of the audience is?
Male.
Like, yeah. Young men, they went to the internet, they went online, they went talking about this stuff, and the young men are like, huh, I kind of like this guy. I kind of like what he's saying, dude. Because they're the only ones that even pretended to give credence to the problems that they're having. So that's why they flocked to him. And there's a vacuum. Conservatives saw the vacuum. They took advantage of it. They won the election. That's how that happened.
Come on.
That's
we both know that the advantage was because they switched halfway through their run from Biden to Kamala, which
I think even Biden stayed in. I think it would have been the same difference. I think the loss would have been pretty similar. Because I think the liberals, they had lost a cultural war, essentially, in that election. America stood up and said, we're done with this woke bullshit. Like, we're over it. We want our economy back. It's like they said, we're done with the self-righteous bullshit. We want to be able to support our families. That's all we give a shit about. And I think the liberals are too much focused on trying to sell that message of self-righteousness still, and they didn't get a hold of it. They kept trying to do the traditional thing, kept with the classic news outlets. Conservatives, they went to online, they pivoted, and they pivoted well. And they used Trump's, again, very informal, really no class whatsoever, but he used that kind of talk to relate to the people, which were the people that felt they were forgotten about. The blue collar, the working class, and the young men that all felt they had been left behind. He spoke to that crowd directly, and he got their votes. That's exactly what happened. And he stole the whole thing. That's why everyone's like, what the fuck? I think that's why the masculine crisis actually now, people are starting to pay attention to it more, because it showed up more in this last election. Like now, it can't be ignored anymore.
I think it's also starting to top out pretty badly.
What does that mean?
All the young men that were starting to grow up, and then now we're starting to hit the actual adulthood, and that's when the things start failing.
Yeah, now we actually starting to have the power to speak up.
Yeah, then that's when we start actually having to be relied on, to be the workers, to be the busy bees,
to replace the.
But usually those fucking back in the day, we would work and we'd be able to earn a fucking house.
Yeah.
You know?
And now we grow up and now we realize we can't. Like, kind of like Fight Club, like Tyler Durden, we talked about, he's like, we all grew up believing we'd be like rock stars, movie stars, astronauts, and now we're realizing that we're not. And we're getting very pissed off. Like, he said that, like, basically in the movie. And so it is, I think there's just angst that's coming between young men. And my concern is that angst is going to turn into something very bad. Arguably, already has. We just seen the first wave of it.
I don't think it's going to stop. I think it's going to turn pretty. I think it's going to get pretty bad.
If there's not a positive example of what masculinity should be, I think that's what we got to put our focus towards.
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not sure about an hour now. So, but yeah. So that was talking about. No, this topic got a little heavier this time. Not as.
Hey kid, you want to think about killing yourself?
Oh Jesus! Why would you say that to Karen?
That's another like clip they're just gonna take.
God damn it.
Out of context. I'm gonna get my next job being like, that was out of context.
So we saw this disturbing clip. But yeah, so today was a little bit of a heavier topic that we want to talk about compared to our last episode. But I do think this stuff doesn't get talked about very much. It's starting to get talked about more in a lot of online spaces, and a little bit more in the public view. But I do think that the audience awareness just to be made more of, so that way people can start reaching out to like the young men, like the young cousins, the young nephews, the neighbors, so we can try to start helping each other out. If we wait on institutions to try to help us out, it'll be way too late by that point. Mm-hmm. By the time they can do something about it. So I think we got to try to start doing more from the community aspect of helping out each other and developing relationships with other young men that are positive, right? Like find people to like go work out with, to volunteer with, to even try to start a business with, to make a podcast with. I mean, just something to instill yourself with other people and the world to generate something of value instead of just trying to take value from it or be bitter towards the world from it. See what you can give instead of what you can take, and then the world might start giving back to you. I think it's more of a reciprocity there. But yeah, so I think hopefully you all kind of picked up something good, something positive from this. Always let me know what you think in the comments. Topics of ideas you want to talk about next. But with that, Luke, have any parting thoughts or anything you want to say?
Thank you for letting me be on your podcast.
Absolutely, I always love having you on.
Yeah, let's go.
Awesome. But thank you guys for listening, and like always, keep it real. Yeah, talk to you later.